Hi, this is Santita Jackson of the Keep Hope Alive with Reverend Jesse Jackson radio show. As Reverend Jackson says, together across lines of race, religion, and region, we will organize coalitions to move America forward. So let's come together and make that happen and protect and rebuild our more perfect union. Please join us July 12th through the 15th for the 46th Annual Rainbow Push Coalition International Conference. For more information, please visit rainbowpush.org.
College is the key to economic freedom for all Americans. Although there are severe cuts to financial aid, Reverend Jackson is still moving the needle in technology and several outstanding programs to help our youth prepare for the digital future. Please support his efforts by joining us for the annual Push Excel Scholarship Gala, Wednesday, July 12th, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Chicago Hilton and Towers. For more information, call 773-256-2777 or visit pushexcel.org. Exciting news! The free Rainbow Push mobile app is ready for download. Get all the news and schedules for the upcoming convention and more. Go to the Rainbow Push homepage at www.rainbowpush.org to download app today. Noticias importantes. La aplicación móvil y gratis de Rainbow Push está lista para utilizar. Obtengan todas las noticias y horarios para la próxima convención y mucho más. Visiten la página de inicio de Rainbow Push en www.rainbowpush.org para descargar la aplicación hoy.
Call somebody, tweet somebody, text somebody, let them know that the push is on. Up right now on your radio, turn us up on your television. We are live all over the world. You should call us right now, 773-256-2775, 773-256-2775. Our founder, our president, the Reverend Jesse Louis Jackson Sr. would love to hear from you today. We are live on WVON AM 1690 and iHeartRadio. We are streaming live right now at rainbowpush.org. From that platform, you can find us on Facebook live stream, and on YouTube. And we are live for the first time, for the first Saturday on the Impact Network. We are excited about it. The only African-American owned and operated Christian network in the United States, reaching over 75 million homes in the United States and throughout the Caribbean, and we're excited to be on the Impact Network. You can find us on DirecTV, Dish Network, and Xfinity Comcast. Listen, there is so much happening here at Rainbow Push, and we're so grateful to each of you who tune in each and every week. You watch us faithfully, you view us faithfully in your homes, your automobiles, your places of business, wherever you're kind enough to tune in. We thank God for you. To our international audience, we especially want to welcome you. Our friends who are watching us right now in Greece, in Spain, in France, in South Africa, and the United Kingdom, and especially those who are watching us here in the United States in our satellite cities of New York, Washington, D.C., Detroit, Atlanta, and Silicon Valley. Come on, let's celebrate and love on our viewers right now. Let them know that we thank them for their viewership and their support. Listen, there's so much happening here. If you don't know it by now, we're 4 days away from our 46th Annual International Rainbow Push Convention. The countdown is here. All roads lead to Chicago, July 12th through the 15th. If you have not yet registered, what are you waiting for? There's still a little bit time left for you to register for this convention. It's only $100 for your registration. Reduced rates of $35 for senior citizens and students. Call us right now, 773-256-2775, or go online right now to rainbowpush.org to register. You will hear more about the convention later on in the broadcast. We're excited to announce that our Push Excel Summer STEAM Academy is in full effect today. Our young people are in the building, and we're excited about it. We're preparing them for the jobs of the future. Every Saturday morning, they are learning science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And in the afternoon, they're learning sports and fitness, physical training. They're learning different sports, tennis, golf, basketball, the proper way to engage in sports and healthy activity. So you still have time to register your young person. Call us right now, 773-256-2775 for this free program that's preparing our young people for the jobs of the future. Listen, today, this afternoon, you can join Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and members of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Father Mike Flager and other community activists and leaders downtown at the Federal Plaza, for a prayer vigil for peace and community reinvestment. A prayer vigil for peace and community reinvestment. We're coming together to say enough is enough. Stop killing our children. Stop killing our babies. We're coming together to say futures and not funerals. We're coming together as one body to pray over this city, to pray for our young people. So join us today, 1 p.m. at the Federal Plaza, 230 South on Dearborn. Listen, you can follow Reverend Jackson on Twitter at Rev J Jackson, his official Twitter handle. You can like him on Facebook, on his official Facebook page, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Tomorrow morning, make sure you start your week off right by listening to Keep Hope Alive Radio. Keep Hope Alive Radio right here on WVON AM 1690 and iHeartRadio. And you can go to keephopealiveradio.com for more information. Listen, Reverend Jackson is here, and he's ready to address us as we're here on our first Saturday on the Impact Network. But to introduce him, we have this young sister here, Janicia Williams, who is no stranger. She's been on this stage before to deliver her oratorical presentation. She will be a freshman in the fall at Howard University, majoring in legal communications in Washington, D.C. So let's give her a great welcome as she comes to introduce Reverend Jackson and deliver her oratorical presentation.
Good morning. Over the last 5 years that I've been a member of the Push Oratorical Program, I've learned a lot about the importance of speech and what it means to lead through speech. Now, as a rising freshman at Howard University, I put a lot of thoughts into how I will exercise my freedom of speech throughout my time on campus. Freedom of speech is a right given to us by the First Amendment of our Constitution. However, the Bible limits that right, teaching that it is better to hold your tongue to prevent evil speech from spewing out. Therefore, as a religious citizen, I must find the balance between the two conditions. Since our nation gives us the right to say whatever we want, there is in fact power in what we choose to say. Proverbs 18:21 says that the power of life and death lies in the tongue. So because of that, we must speak only to help, never to hurt. We must recognize wrongs, but rather than just complain, we must then speak on what is right. No change can be made by merely airing grievances. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that." So when I arrive on my college campus, I will speak about hope, love, and unity. After the presidential election, tens of thousands of students walked out of their classrooms in protest. Students took a stand so their voices could be heard, attempting to shed light on issues such as women's rights, Black Lives Matter, and immigration. At Howard University, students formed a group called HU Resist, which was created not only as a response to Donald Trump's dangerous rhetoric, but also as a way to ensure the transparency and accountability of Howard's administration. They demanded increased visibility, access, and expansion of resources for LGBT, immigrants, Muslim, and other underrepresented populations within the Black community. This is how freedom of speech should be used as a call and catalyst for change. Freedom of speech should be used to resist. Resist turning back the clock on women's rights. Resist the ban on immigration. Resist the repeal and replacement of Obamacare. Resist budget cuts for low-income housing. Resist America returning to a greatness that never existed for some of us. Freedom of speech means the freedom to fight for what is right without fear of being silenced, because everyone has a right to be heard. Now, the man I stand before you to introduce today has exercised freedom of speech for almost his entire life. A man who once said, "It is not your aptitude, but your attitude that will determine your altitude." A man who once said, "Keep hope alive." A man, when history said we were only 1/5 of a person, he said, "I am somebody. I am somebody." A man who instilled in me that I am somebody. Please help me welcome to the stage Reverend Jesse Jackson.
I want to clap a little louder than before. I want to sing a little louder than before. I want to shout a little louder than before. I want to spin a little louder than before. Everybody shout freedom. Oh, freedom. Yeah, freedom. Oh, freedom. Yes, hallelujah. 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 You deserve all the glory. You deserve all the praise. Hallelujah.
I am somebody. I am somebody. Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Impact Network #1. Let me hear you scream.
Yeah, freedom. Oh, freedom. Yeah, freedom. Oh, freedom. Yeah, freedom. You give us freedom. Oh, freedom.
Yeah. Give our musicians a big hand, a big hand, a big hand, a big hand for our musicians. We got a lot of ground to cover today, but let me make a couple of very basic announcements before I bring on Brother Ralph material. One, the first 50 people to arrive at Rainbow today before noon will be able to participate in the opening of our construction flaggers training program that will be held July 20th at the Rainbow Push headquarters. You can make up to $40 an hour. Say $40 an hour. Flagging slow and speed and go and stop. slow and speed and go and stop. We have a flaggers workshop here, July 20th, from 12 to 4. The first 50 who call you want one of those jobs, making $40 an hour, please come by and come right now while we're live. Secondly, last weekend, 103 of our people were killed or shot, and 15 were killed. We cannot adjust to that. We're going today at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a prayer vigil at the federal department downtown, the federal courthouse. We demand reinvestment in our America. As long as guns are running in, say guns are running in from the other states. Drugs are running in from other countries. Jobs in, jobs out, drugs in, guns in. We want to go another way. Stop the violence. Say to the children, stop guns from coming in. Stop drugs from coming in. Stop jobs from going out. Put your hand together if that makes sense to you. And you can either mourn or you can march. Mourn at the next funeral or fight. March. If you say we either go to the grave site or the school site. They said in the time of Moses, they're going to kill all the firstborn babies. Most mothers just mourned. They're going to kill our babies. Moses' mother organized a plan to save her child. She didn't mourn, she marched. When Jesus was born, killed all the firstborn babies. Most mothers, they just cried. Mary and Joseph marched to Egypt. Said, when we march, we don't have to mourn. So today at 1 o'clock, let's march. Say, let's march. Let's march. Let's march. Let's march. A dynamic thing happened here this week. First time in several years that Illinois budget has passed. I've asked Brother Crummer Raoul to come by for a moment as a part of that gigantic force this week and rare material to give us a few minutes each on what does the new budget mean. Do you hear Senator Kwame Raoul? Kwame?
Thank you, Reverend Jackson. Good morning, Push. We have been sick. Illinois has been sick for a while. Not just the last 3 years, but Illinois has been sick for a while. But the doctor that we elected as our governor has prescribed the wrong cure. His cure is doing nothing. For 3 years, Illinois has not had a budget, and our community has suffered the most. Sometimes when you have a doctor that wants you to get sicker, they want you to get sicker because they benefit from doing another procedure on you. There's some people, Jonathan, who will benefit if Illinois goes to junk status. There's some people who will make money if Illinois goes to junk status. It is not us. Now, we did pass an income tax increase to 4.95. Now, you will hear that you're paying a 32% income tax, because that's what they want you to believe, but it's 4.95, 0.05 less than we were paying 3 years ago when we were paying our bills on time, when we were paying down our backlog of bills, which means we were doing things that would allow a Chicago State University to stay open. We were doing things that would allow our social service agencies to deliver social services to our community. But Governor Dr. Do Nothing does not care if Chicago State closed down. He campaigned around bankruptcy. He wants to bankrupt our communities because there's some doctors that will benefit from you getting sicker. Now, passing a budget is not a complete cure. We have rising property taxes because we've relied on property tax to fund our schools. SB 1 will be delivered to the governor's desk to make sure that the quality of education you get does not depend on your zip code. We must insist that the governor sign SB 1 If not, we override them again so our children can get the same quality education as his children. So when you're sick, don't listen to what certain people will tell you as to how you cure your illness. Don't listen to somebody who will tell you to do nothing. Because if it gets worse, trying to cure that illness becomes more difficult. And so I feel blessed that I participated on July 4th on overriding the governor and making sure for the first time in 3 years, the state of Illinois has a budget.
Put your hands together, put your hands together. You know, I heard before I brought on rap, I heard last week say, you know, with the budget being finally passed, it's going to hurt us. Well, a doctor has certain patients. Illinois has the most black unemployment in America is in Illinois. Unemployed people do not have a tax problem. This is going to made a $500 million in hedge funds not working. So the governor made $500 million in hedge funds investment without working. And so we are moving, we're not toward the end zone, we're not there, we're on our way. And we've seen hospitals close, we've seen community services close, we've seen people lose their aids, seniors couldn't get transportation, those with AIDS couldn't get their drug medicine, and so we are moving in the right direction. But the rapporteur, tell us a little bit more about what that budget means to us this week.
All right, I'm Ralph Martiri, Executive Director of the Center for Tax and Budget Accountability. And first two things I'm going to say is it's an honor to be here at Rainbow Push, which has made such a difference in the lives of so many people today. And it's an honor to follow Senator Kwame Raoul, who has fought consistently his entire political career to do the right thing. He's one of the good guys. Applaud Senator Raoul. Why do you need a budget? Why do you care about your budget? I'll tell you why. Do you know what the state of Illinois spends its money on? 9 out of $10 go to 4 things: education, health care, social services, and public safety. Which one of those do you want to cut because we don't have enough tax revenue to fund them? You want to cut education for our kids? How about higher education for children trying to get along? You know, our MAP grants were zeroed out in 2017. $0 in college tuition assistance to needy students in Illinois. 0. Why? We didn't have a budget. Why didn't we have a budget? We didn't have enough tax revenue to pay for one, and we didn't have enough political will to pass the tax increase we need to fund that budget. You want to cut health care? Do you think low-income families deserve to see a doctor just like rich families do? Yeah. How about social services? You want to care for the elderly? You want to care for abused and neglected children? You want to give people the supports they need to get off of drugs and into the workforce? Can't cut that. How about public safety? You want to come home to a safe street, or do you want a gang war? These are the services that we have cut in Illinois by $6 billion over the last 2 years. $6 billion. Yes, they raised taxes. Yes, we will all have to pay a little bit more, but it's worth it. We're investing in ourselves. We're investing in our communities. And I want to tell you something about what happened the last time we cut taxes. You heard Senator Kwame Raoul come up here and say, hey, the new rate, 5.95%, is still less than the 5% you paid a few years ago, right? That was cut from 5% to 3.75%. Did that make you feel rich? Here's the impact of it. We had those $6 billion in cuts, and who do you think got the benefit of that tax cut? Think it went to you? Over half of it went to the wealthiest 10% in this state. Over half. So that money came out of schools, it came out of health care, it came out of social services, and it went into the pockets of the richest 10% in our state. You know who did the best? Millionaires. Millionaires in the state of Illinois got an average tax cut of about $37,000 a year. That's more than the taxable income of everyone in the bottom 60%. That's what they got in tax relief. So no, low, middle income families, you didn't benefit from that tax cut. But where do you think services were eliminated and reduced? In Wilmette? In Winnetka? In Barrington? No. How about East St. Louis? How about Harvey? How about Dalton? How about the south and west sides of the city of Chicago? What happens when we cut taxes? Low and middle income families don't get the benefit of the tax relief, but they pay for it by losing services in their communities. We have to stop this ridiculous discussion on tax policy and recognize we have to invest in all of our families, in all of our communities. That takes tax revenue. Let's support our elected officials who support having good tax policy.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together. The first 50 people to arrive at Rainbow Push today to go into a construction flagger's job, $40 an hour. There'll be a workshop held July 20th at the headquarters, 12 to 4 p.m., $40 an hour, holding a flag that says stop, go, slow. Stop, go, slow. And so come here July 20th, but come today. The first 50 will get those jobs. I want to express my thanks to Brother Rab Matera and Kwame Raoul. As we move toward our convention this year, we're going to march today. But then on this coming Wednesday, we open up our convention. We're getting 1,000 churches to put laptops in the Sunday school room to teach our children apps and codes and robotics. At the lunch, Governor Terry McAuliffe from Virginia will be our speaker, and Roz Hudnick, the Vice President of Intel. They put up $300 million to invest in development with black colleges and workers. Intel deserves support for that. On that Thursday morning is our labor breakfast. There are 1 million people in this state alone who work 89 days and then they're laid off, so they cannot get benefits. We're going to fight for temporary workers. There'll be a major fight for workers getting full-time work, not temporary or part-time work. At noontime, Reverend Al Sharpton from National Action Network, Reverend Barbara from North Carolina, Ministers Reverend Freddie Haynes will be speaking at the luncheon at noon. Reverend Mayor Andrew Young and Reverend C.T. Vivian, Reverend Bernard Lopez. We honor our family that fought for freedom down through the years. The night athletes beyond the playing field. Athletes are now begin to learn high tech and invest in that which makes the most sense for them. And then on Friday at noon at the health workshop, at noontime, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and we're honoring Aretha Franklin. Now, Aretha is not doing a concert, but she did say have a piano just in case. So Aretha Franklin is not doing a concert, but she said have some drums and piano and organ just in case. Pray for just in case. Elizabeth Warren will speak and Maxine Waters will speak, and we'll honor some outstanding women on that occasion. And that night, the eight running for governor will have it right at on this stage. We'll have a forum for those running for governor. Here, if we have 80,000 vacant homes and abandoned lots, what is their plan? If our neighborhood has been ravaged by bank exploitation, what is their plan? If there's lead in our water and lead paint on the walls, what is their plan? Do they have a plan to sweep the streets? Do they have a plan to build housing? Do they have a plan for our share? See, whoever has the best plan, be our partner in the process. I might also add that we're also going to bring in AT&T and Delta and the deans of black colleges. We're going to bring them in, that we're going to begin to set a goal of 100 black engineers. We're going to begin to train black engineers and direct them to where the jobs are. Sister Helen Crawley, won't you please stand? Helen Austin Crawley, she's going to help teach that. Give her a big hand. So Ellen will be here on Friday. On Saturday, Brother Bernie will be here. Brother Bernie will be here with all of his bells and whistles. We're going to hear what he has to say on that day, and Judge Mathis and Reverend Sharpton. We're going to honor Mayor Richard Hatcher on that occasion. 50 years ago, he was elected mayor. He and Carl Stokes is kind of Mayor Hatcher, Carl Stokes, and also Brother Dave Dinkins, who's 90 years old today, was our first black mayor of New York City. We're going to honor Dave Dinkins, honor Richard Hatcher. Thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for participating in that. That afternoon, we're going to have us in the street. We're going to have a big love, say, Stop the Violence, Love Fest. Stop the Violence, Love Fest. So come by and register for the convention today. Call 773-FREEDOM on your website, rainbowpush.org, rainbowpush.org. Come by and register today. And we're going to leave here fighting because Virginia and New Jersey are having elections this year. We intend to win those elections back, and we're gonna go another way. Right now, our nation's in trouble, but we have the medicine. Say the medicine is our vote. Let's apply that vote and our marching feet and make something happen. Well, Brother Mahan, why don't you guys come on and give us a little music now? And the next voice you want to hear is my son, beloved Brother Jonathan Jackson, who is our national voice. A young man of great intellect, commitment. A big hand for Brother Jonathan Jackson. Mahan, give us a little taste.
Yeah. Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast, yeah. Hold on tight, you will last. Keep yourself, respect your manly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep your stride. Yeah. Never mind your fears. You see, better days will soon be here. Yeah, take it from me. Someday we'll all be free. Free, yeah, yeah. Keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Never mind your fears. No, no. You keep going, going on. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free. Yeah. Just wait and see. Someday we'll all be free. Yeah. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free.
Thank you so much, Brother Mahan. Give him another loving round of applause.
It's wonderful to be back in the home of Rainbow Push today, and I am very excited today. It is convention time for the Rainbow Push Coalition. I see so many bright, young, beautiful children here that are taking advantage of the STEM program right here at Rainbow Push. Why is that so necessary? Before they gutted out all of these administrative programs at our school, it was widely understood that there is something called summer learning loss. Our children, when they stop going through the rigors of reading 30 minutes a day for 2 or 3 months off in the summer, by the time they go back in the fall, their reading skills have diminished. So ladies and gentlemen, we can keep our children reading for 30 minutes a day at a minimum. And to my young people out here, I know we have to play 2K. I know we have to play FIFA. I know we have to pick our sports team. But in between that time, let's make sure that we are reading. I'd also like to say it one more time. My father made the comment for those in television and radio land in the Chicagoland area. We can accommodate up to 50 people today to get them into the entry-level program of starting to becoming a flagger, holding the flag on the side of the road so that you can direct traffic in the construction trades. This pay can get up to $40 per hour per individual. There is going to be a lot of road and construction work coming down, not just in the Chicagoland area, but there's something called the Federal Defense Highway Act that is regulated by Davis-Bacon laws. Davis-Bacon is a union law that says the minimum that laborers have to be paid. African Americans in large part have not been involved in the labor union at our appropriate levels. We are going to put a renewed focus on getting our fair share of jobs and contracts in the labor movement. You're going to hear more updates on this. This is a stretch. This isn't even on the surface yet of $40 an hour. There's heavy equipment locals. There's crane operators. There are people that are going to be digging out pipelines of our aging infrastructure. I'm asking you to get involved and come and get a job. Why? What is the difference? We not only want to be hearers of the word, and I'm proud to say we are now back on television under the leadership of Bishop Jackson out of Detroit on the Impact Network. What you should know about that is the Impact Network is the only African American religious network that is 100% owned by African Americans. There is a network, it's called the Impact Network, owned by African Americans. Our religious programming isn't owned by African Americans. To my point, we not only want to be hearers of the word, we want to be doers of the word. We believe that after you leave Rainbow Push, you should make your way to a church. Get to a Sunday school first. I don't want to run past that point. I know grandma needs church, daddy needs church, mama needs church. But what does it profit you if you get to church and you've left the whole family behind? We've got to bring the children in to the church. We need Sunday school as a priority where everyone can get together. A praise group is great, but having the choir where everyone can sing and everyone can give something back is even greater. Why do you need to come to Rainbow Push? The church can't do it all on Sunday. We too hear the word, but then we have to go do the word and get out into the world. We have to make sure that we are glorifying God and edifying man if our people aren't being built up. Then we're using religion as a tool and something very cruel. So we're back on television, and we thank Bishop Jackson and the Impact Network. As it relates to the state budget crisis, I would like to use the word crisis, but it would be inappropriate. Read the word for yourself. A crisis is something that is unanticipated, something that is unintended. But if you intentionally wreck something, let me be clear. If you work at the fire department, 3 days on, 4 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off, can't work more than 2 weeks out of the month, and you also open up an insurance agency selling property and casualty for home, auto, and life, and then you are a pyromaniac. You just like setting things afire. So in between your 3 days on and 4 days off and selling insurance, you've got this nefarious habit of going out and setting things afire. Catch the point. You're gonna make money going to put the fire out for where you get a job to settle the insurance that you just sold for the problem you just created. That's not a crisis. That is a person that is conniving and is evil. There is a mission going on right now to bankrupt our state governments, to bankrupt our counties, to bankrupt our cities. Why? Because the poorest are most vulnerable and they need government. Who needs government? And what should be the role of government? My purpose and my definition of what government should do. Government should step in only when the people can't take care of themselves. You don't need government regulating every part of your life. But when the people are suffering and they can't do for themselves, the government has to have a level of superintendence to come under and pick the people up so there's a floor by which no one can go beneath. That is the purpose of government in my mind and in my heart. What do we have now? They are taking the government floor away from us. The government's not going to make you read, but if you want to read, they ought to put some money into the library system so you can have some books. There's two sides to that coin. You gotta wanna read. And the government should be able to help you get a book so you can borrow it to read. It's twofold, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a state budget that's just been passed, but unfortunately, this is what I want you to get excited about. We have work to do. The infrastructure has been dismantled. Now that the budget has been approved, to turn the machine back on is gonna take another year. This isn't like turning on a car. You've got to first go back into the facilities. You've got to reformulate the plans. You've got to hire the administrators. You've got to tell people where the surface has just been put back. This man has dismantled. He's done a decade worth of damage in 2 years. So what do I want from you? I want you to be eternally vigilant. I want you to wake up like I do and look forward to coming to a Rainbow Push platform where free men and free women can speak our free mind. We're seeing our president, Mr. Trump. I know, not my president. Well, he's got the 747. He occupies the White House. and I am an American, and I look forward to unseating him as the President of the United States. And I look forward to all the minions around him and the senators being unseated around him. We have a very special guest today that I would like to acknowledge, the president of the Abolitionist Institute of Mauritania. We've heard of the Moors and the Moorish Empire. Yes, that is a real country and real people. We are the descendants of these great people from Mauritania. And as we speak today, slavery is alive and well in West Africa, in Mauritania. And as we speak today, in the spirit of Sojourner Truth, in the spirit of John Brown, in the spirit of Viola Louisa, in the spirit of Reverend Martin Luther King and Frederick Douglass and so many others, there is a spirit and a man that's here with us today that was brought to us by one of our very own, Reverend Mitchell Johnson. This is going to be Mr. President Biram Da Abedi. Please stand for a moment. Give him a loving round of applause. He is also here with Bakari Tandia. Please stand, young man. They've come from West Africa asking for our help to highlight what is going on there. We are going to break up the last vestiges of slavery in West Africa. In brief, what I want to share with you before we close today, it's time to have a convention. Why do we have to convene? Not only to be hearers of the word, but to be doers of the word. Not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word. A woman asked me at an event yesterday, she says, a senior citizen, shall I say a special citizen. God blessed her to have a head full of silver on the top of her crown. She says, Mr. Jackson, do you think we're going to survive Mr. Trump? It hurt me to see the fear in this special citizen's eyes when she asked, do you think we're going to survive a Mr. Donald J. Trump? Let me tell you what I told her. Mr. Donald J. Trump should be concerned about his soul because we serve a mighty God. I told her, I don't fear a Donald J. Trump. I don't fear a Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. I don't fear a Mr. Bannon. I don't fear a mayor of the city of Chicago. I don't fear a Bruce Rauner. I don't fear no man that has flesh, that has blood, that has bones. I serve a mighty God. The question becomes, when are we going to give them something different to react to, something different to respond to? I thank God not only for my Heavenly Father, but every now and then I have to let people know I am the son of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I didn't grow up fearing no man. If you don't know your earthly father, and you don't have someone that you can call a father, I have a father that's been a father for so many, for so long, who's never stopped fighting. When he says it's time to have a convention, I've got a scripture reader out there. You can go look in the book of Hebrews in the 7th chapter, in the 25th verse. Come on, my God is majestic. He's beautiful. He's complete. He empowers us. He leads us. He guides us. He will never forsake us. But ladies and gentlemen, If you have education and no salvation, we have damnation. If we don't take the time to convene, to get information, to come and see and honor the queen of American music, not soul music, not just gospel music, I'm talking about opera. I'm talking about blues. I'm talking about jazz. I'm talking about R&B. I'm talking about a woman that talks about going down the freeway of love. I'm talking about a woman that says, if you want a do-right woman, you better be a do-right. I don't know how y'all know that. She said, I don't need no doctor filling me up. Well, moving right along, the queen of American music, Miss Aretha Franklin. My wife knows how I feel about Miss Riri, Mrs. Franklin, the queen of American music. She's gonna be here. We've got Elizabeth Warren, the woman that Mr. Trump called Pocahontas, called her a Pinocchio. Can you imagine the most conniving, dishonest person we've seen making dispersions against everyone else's character, a woman from Boston that's still fighting in the United States Senate? Miss Elizabeth Warren is going to be with us. We know what happened with Senator Bernie Sanders. I was a supporter. I was a delegate. You shouldn't throw a rock and hide your hand. Why was I with Bernie? Because his message was right then. His message is right now. We need to reorganize the economy. He supported my father in 1988. A white mayor from Vermont, Mr. Bernie Sanders, went on to become a United States Senator. Yes, that is political. I owed him a favor in my soul, and I do support the message of Senator Bernie Sanders. We've got the Reverend Jesse Jackson, not just a legend. He's a fighting, working. He's not on a pedestal. He's not trying to extol himself. When he leaves here today at 75 years old, he's still going to have another march against violence. I get so many mothers now, Dad, and it's so sad. They come up to me. My brother was killed. My sister was killed. My father was killed. Everybody wants to have a foundation for their child, their family member that was hurt. Why do we need a convention? We have to have a collective mindset and imagination like the book of Hebrews to move us all forward. We're going to move forward and not just be the hearers of the word. At Rainbow Push, what do? We want to be the doers of the word to make life better on earth for all people. In conclusion, we're going to focus on these trade unions and these jobs. A lot of people are doing a lot of great work around town. There's a lot of great mentorship programs, Dad, that are happening, and I support them all. But somebody's got to support and fight for the economic interest of the African American family. I can talk with your child for a moment. I got 3 teens of my own, so pray for me too. And I'm gonna pray for you too. But I wanna fight for your family when you come to Rainbow Push. And don't come with just your problem. Tell me how this is gonna benefit a group of people, how we're gonna move our community forward. I don't want us to be so parochial, so provincial, so narrow-minded. The I, the me, the my. Everyone comes back and attacks the African-American community. But we're not in this alone. You know, on this day, on July 8th, we were talking about in Mississippi, where the freedom fighters were going there. And here we had a young man, a true freedom soul, Brother Bob Dylan, It was on this day, July 8th in 1963, that he wrote the song and delivered it, Blowing in the Wind. Brother Bob Dylan wrote that song when Reverend Martin Luther King was alive. And some African-American ministers, or shall I say, so-called ministers, they were afraid of Reverend Martin Luther King. I know people that are afraid of my father. I've had people to tell me, God bless you and your father. I guess that's a benefit and it's a curse to have Reverend Jesse Jackson as your father. I said, I thank you so much, but you got that wrong. I've never grown up in the shadows of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I've grown up in the sunshine of the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I've grown up with the man who fights for human rights. I've grown up with a man that's never had to capitulate. I've grown up with a man that has his shoulders erect, his backbone straight. In the time I have remaining on earth, I want to be an example of a son that respects a father that's not afraid to make a difference.
Come on, put those hands together. People keep on yearning, yeah.
Yeah!
Soldiers,
on your feet, put your hands together.
Keep on worrying.
Hello, National Action Network, Brother Al.
Well,
they're trying to get down.
Keep on turning.
Go on to higher ground.
But it won't be too long.
Come on, Brother Mahan.
Face. Well, my people, yeah, don't stop dying. No, 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 no. Teach it. Just keep on teaching. 'Cause it won't be too long. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, I'm so glad that you let me try it again. Keep on trying till I reach my high ground. Come on, we gonna have a funky good time. We wanna have a funky good time. Right now, we'll say.